Oh, so you have some cellars full of water over there, do you? And what they were saying was, yeah, big floods flooded the whole town out. I mean, probably, 175,000, 200,000 people in Nashville. And they said, yes, estimates are that it's going to take $1.1 billion to repair this whole city. So $1.7 billion is a pretty good chunk of change, and we're committed to keeping that in the family programs. Now, I need some help here. Because anytime you double the amount of money that you put towards something, you get things done fast, but you don't necessarily get them done efficiently. And we recognize that there are some efficiencies in what we've done there that can be gained out of the family programs. Not to be put someplace else in the Army, but to put into better family programs. Well, when we started doing that, the feedback I was getting was, here it comes. As soon as the money got tight, they're pulling the plug. So I said, stop. I said, leave it alone for a couple of years. But what I need some help on is, I need feedback on programs that you think are redundant that we could stop doing so we could put money into programs that we really need. All right? So I'd ask you to think about that as we go forward here. Now, a little bit about the future here. I think you know that since 2007, we have been working very hard to get ourselves back in a better position. I call it get ourselves back in balance. And what we meant by that is in a position where we are actually deploying at a sustainable level. And we think in the near term, a sustainable level is 2 years at home between deployments, and in the long term, 3 years at home between deployments. For the active force, 4 and 5 years respectively for the Guard and Reserve. We did a study last year that told us what we intuitively knew, that it takes 24 to 36 months to recover from a 1-year combat deployment. It just does. And even though some of us have big chests, but there's no S's underneath these things, that everybody needs that time to recover. And when you turn faster than that, as we have been doing, the cumulative effects build up faster. And so we have been working very hard to get us to a point where we had at least 2 years at home. And I can tell you that with the growth of the Army, that we actually finished last year, and that originally was not going to be finished until 2012. And I started out, I'd go into big auditoriums like this, and I'd tell the folks, yes, we're going to get bigger, and so you won't have to deploy as much, and it's going to be done by 2012. And they'd look at me like you're looking at me. And so with Secretary Gates' help, we accelerated that till 2010 and actually got it done in 2009. But even as we were finishing that, it was clear that because we had so many soldiers that were temporarily non-deployable, so many soldiers that were either in warrior transition units or running warrior transition units, or already deployed outside of their units, that we were still having difficulty manning units fully to go to Iraq and Afghanistan. So Secretary Gates has allowed us to grow another 22,000. So we've increased almost 100,000 soldiers in the Army since 2007. And then that's had a huge impact on our ability to increase the time at home. The other big thing, obviously, that happened was the drawdown in Iraq to 50,000. And between those two things, we're able to look out, and at this time next year, when we start fiscal year 12, units deploying will deploy, and they should be able to expect 2 years at home for the active force, 4 years at home for the Guard and Reserve. Now, since I know you're all seasoned veterans here, that's based on what we know today. And it was interesting when my son was coming home, I said to Sheila and his wife, I said, look, he's going to be home on the 4th or 5th of October. And she said, no, he's not. He's going to be home when he gets home. And they wouldn't accept anything other than, I'm on my way home from the airport. And so they also have learned. But anyway, huge difference from where we were in 2007, and a very, very necessary difference. Now, the challenge I think we're all going to wrestle with here is, okay, we're going to be home for 2 years. What do we do now? And you know, candidly, a lot of folks, I'm sure, have been not dealing with some things that they needed to get at, because they didn't want to mess with it, when only 12 months at home. Plus, we're going to have to continue to train to maintain our combat edge. But hopefully we can be smart enough where we don't need to train and go off and spend all our time, we are home deployed. I think hopefully we can be smarter than that. The other thing we have to do is reconstitute ourselves. There's some things that we just haven't had time to do over the last several years. And you hear a lot of talk about getting young leaders to understand their way around garrisons at home. And so we have some training skills we have to recalibrate, some administrative skills we have to recalibrate, but all those things will be going on. But I think probably the most important thing that we're focused on doing is building resilience for the long haul. And I think we all have to think about that as we start getting more and more time at home. Because the reality is, as has been said already, we are in our 10th year at war. And the reality is this is likely to go on for a while longer. And so we have to strengthen ourselves, soldiers, families, civilians, to deal with the continuing impacts of the war. And when you think about it, 4,100 soldiers have lost their lives, leaving more than 20,000 surviving family members. 28,000 have been wounded. 7,500 of those seriously enough to require long-term care. We can never forget the sacrifices of those folks as we go forward here, and we have every intention of following through on that as we go forward. So I can tell you we will remain focused on families and soldiers as we go forward into this next several years, and I don't think we'll treat it with just a sigh of relief, boy, am I glad that's over, because it's not. And we have to continue to sustain what we're doing and build on it. Now, before I go to the assessment of the Army Family Covenant, quick question. How many of the family members here have gone online and taken the Comprehensive Soldier Fitness Assessment? Can you raise your hands? Okay, thanks. How many of you all have stayed online then and done one of the modules that accompanied those? Okay. Thank you. I'd encourage the rest of you, if you haven't taken it, take it. And what it is, it takes about 20 minutes, and there's a special one for families as there is one for soldiers. But it'll give you assessment of where your strengths lie in the 5 key areas of fitness: physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and family. Just give you a bar graph. And those modules will help you build some strengths in the areas that you're not as strong in. And you can do all that in the privacy of your own home, and I'd encourage you to do that. Any Master Resilience trainers in here? There you go. Great, a family member. Wonderful. Great. Master Resilience trainers are being trained across the Army, soldiers, families, and civilians, to help others understand the value and the benefits of this program. Just so you know, over 830,000 people have taken this assessment online. I don't know that there's any behavioral health survey that has ever had that level of participation. Right now, we're about to have about 2,200 Master Resilience trainers trained, and about 500,000 of the modules have been taken. So we need to build a little momentum on this, and I think the Master Resilience trainers are key to helping us expand this. But I think that program, more than any other thing, can help give us some of the resilience and strength we're going to need for the years ahead. Okay, what you've all been waiting for. The 3rd annual survey of the Army Family Covenant. Again, your answers are yay, Ready? All right, the first element of the Family Covenant is standardize family programs across installation. How are we doing? Oh, well, this is better than last year. So, all right, somebody write this down. So this is between an and a yay. No. Oh, it's getting more toward an All right, Okay, everybody knows about Army One Source? Oh, that sounds a little better. Family Readiness Support Assistance, everybody okay with that? Okay. Respite care for exceptional family members? Okay. More to do there. Okay. 24 million bucks went toward that program. Okay, but we got more to do on that. All right. Okay. Next. Access to quality health care. Any ands? No. Okay. Oh, okay. A couple of, slightly better than last year. So what I'm hearing, is it the accessibility or the quality? Quality, really? All right. Both. All right. All right. So more work to be done on the access to quality health care. Just so you know, how many million people do you think are seen in military health care facilities over the course of a year? 20 million. 20 million. Okay. Number 3, improving soldier and family housing. Good. Okay. What you heard was there's a perception that we've taken away the ability to do health and welfare inspections. I don't know if that's true, but if we put something out on that, we'll check. But that puts our soldiers at risk, and I'll check into that. But I don't. It may be something local, but we certainly haven't done that from an Army-wide level. Okay, so the housing. Okay, so we got. So housing is kind of yay. Yeah, all right. Okay, number 4, ensuring excellence in schools, youth services, and child care. So what am I hearing? I'm hearing some goods, I'm hearing some ahs. Am I hearing? Any boos? Boos in the back? Go ahead.
High schools closest to post are the most ran down and are not. And even I know that it's most and I know it's parent involvement too, but that's why we have to live, now I'm screaming, way away from post to get our children to the decent schools, and then not only academic, but to where they're going to be college prep and safety and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, as I go around, I get a real mixed bag of the schools that are close to our military installations. And I know we've been working very hard locally. We put, I think, over 140 school liaison officers in the schools all around the installations, starting to make a dent in that. But I think the problem gets down to its funding. It's state funding. It's not military funding. And we work very closely with the local governments and state governments to try to keep pushing it up. Okay, what about child care? Boo. Got one thumbs up and some boos. Just so you know, we've put about 128 child development centers around and 24 youth centers all around the Army here in the last several years. And I just was in Vicenza, Italy, and saw an absolutely magnificent child care facility. Okay, so I'm putting child and youth services as a taboo. All right. Okay, I can hardly wait for the last one. Expanding education and employment opportunities for family members. Oh. Actually, that was a pleasant surprise. Okay. I know there's been a lot of work going on there. Some of you have seen that they had to change my CAA around and limit the accessibility. I know that didn't make some people happy, but it's a case of, as with every entitlement, we have to be able to continue to deliver on it once we put it out. And the other program that we had put out there was well-intentioned, but it wasn't affordable over the long haul. And so better to be consistent, I think, across a smaller portion of the population. We'll keep working on this. And as Sheila said, we think we've made progress, but you never stop. And your feedback is very important. I got some great feedback in Vicenza, talking to some family members about the increased difficulties OCONUS for family members, particularly on the working side. But the only way that we can fix things is keep shining a spotlight on it, and you're our individual flashlights out there, all right? So thank you very much. I will tell you, as long as I'm here, and I know John McHugh is going to carry it on after Sheila and I are gone here, but we will maintain our commitment to our Army families. You are the strength that underpins us as the strength of the nation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, General Mrs. Casey. We'll have time for a couple of questions. We'll take one from this room.
There you go, right in the back. First hand up. There you go, right there.
Sir, my question is kind of a question in two parts, and it's regarding checks and balances for existing programs. I know we have inspections or whatever the ACS and other organizations call it, and we know, and I'm just going to be really honest, any good government employee can make an inspection look good, you know? But what do we do to externally...
I could use your help.
What do we do to do an external audit? You know, do we do anything to get spouses, I mean, to really find out, because there's walkers and talkers in customer service. And there are a lot of people who don't use services because they're inconsistent. And they might be great at one installation, and they're terrible at another installation. And there's got to be a checks and balances. And along that line, you know, in regards to spouse employment, I think the education is great. But what you'll see is there are a lot of spouses out there with bachelor's and master's degrees who are underemployed, and making the list isn't good enough. To be honest, it's one thing to make a list, but until we attack the intrinsic, honestly, it's discrimination for spouses, you know, and that is a real issue. At our installation, we hear like crazy. Spouses can't get employed. They can make the list. They can't get employed because of intrinsic discrimination about not wanting to hire a spouse who's going to move in 2 to 3 years.
Okay. That's worth looking into. I think maybe let's get the IG go around and take a look at the civilian hiring practices and give us some insight in that. Okay.
Sir, if we could take a question from the other room now.
Sure.
All right. Are you all ready over there?
Yes, this is Danielle Bashan from Fort Hood. It seems that we're a lot different. Some of our opinions are a lot different over here, but y'all are not really getting to be able to listen to them because y'all can't see our yays and our nays. Oh. So some of our opinions and this is a majority of the FRG leaders over here, but it seems like we have a lot different opinions on some of the things than they do over there. So we just feel, some of us feel like our voices aren't really getting heard over here because y'all can't see us and y'all don't really hear us.
Okay.
So tell us what the differences were.
So where's there?
I think overall our room was a little more positive.
Okay. Part of it, I think what happens too with all of us as individuals, it's our own story. If we've had a bad experience with childcare, medical care, housing, if we're one of the have-nots in the housing right now as opposed to the new housing, we're all kind of speaking, we're speaking from our own position. So obviously the people in the other room are probably in a better, are having better personal experiences, but we all
Yeah,
speak
I'm
from
coming
that.
over there.
Yeah. But we all, but the important thing is that but our individual. See, they were feeling like the have-nots over there.
Hey, Sheila,
Yeah.
it's a nice place over here. All right. Let me take a couple of direct questions from here. Okay, you are?
My name's Genevieve Sonia. I'm an FRG leader at Fort Bragg.
Have you been serving alcohol in here?
I kind of have a point and an idea. We love our FRSAs for the most part. They are a wonderful, wonderful addition to the family readiness groups. And we really want to thank you. And what I want to tell you is that the FRSAs are, it's a GS6 level. They're often females, and they get assigned to the battalion level. But I hate to say, we're not getting the most from all of our FRSAs. And I think some of this is because of the unfamiliarity with having a female civilian in a military line unit. And so I think that across the board, we can introduce our raiders, that are the battalion XOs, to CES, the civilian evaluation system, and help empower them so that they understand how to address performance issues with those low-level civilians and get the most out of them.
Great suggestion. I'll tell you on the FRSAs, and we've been dialoguing with others about this as we've gone around, but with any new program, what I find is you expend an extraordinary amount of effort just getting it off the ground. And after about a year or so, you kind of plateau. And that's kind of, I think, where we've got with FRSAs. And now we've got to figure out, okay, how do we take it to the next level? And the kind of suggestions that you're talking about, I think, are exactly the kind of things that we can do. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you. We got another one?
You feel like you lost.
We're going to do one more over here.
Yes, my name is Nicole and I'm from Germany. And I have a question because I always feel like that that we are kind of like the stepchild of the Army. And will there be any more changes or support, more support, family member-wise, housing, childcare, and schools?
I say more, that we're going to continue to resource USER to the level that we have. It's what I was saying earlier, though. I spent a lot of time in USER when I was a colonel and a 1-star and a 2-star. And you forget about the challenges of living abroad. And everything abroad is just a little bit harder than it is back here in the States. And I got that in Vicenza a lot. So we just have to keep pushing the envelope on this to ensure that we get you the same level of care that the folks back here in the States get. Thanks. You want to take a question, Sheila?
Sure. We can hear you
Feel
over
free.
there.
Hi, the question that I have is, I know the Master Resilience Training is a big thing, and it's very successful so far, as he was speaking with those who have taken the GAT. It's primarily targeted towards the soldiers, and I know there are DA civilians incorporated in that, but a lot of this I see in this family forum, there's not a lot who have taken it because it's focused towards the soldiers. And I know that ACS gets a lot of slots sometimes to go for this training, but when will it be afforded to the FRISAs and the FRG leaders so that we can get it out more towards our family members? I've sat in many of those classes, and I haven't heard one class where the feedback is, I should have gotten this 10 years ago. And it's great, the soldiers are getting it, and then they're going out. But how are we going to get to our family members more?
Well, I think that then if you become a master resilience trainer, we need to be able to utilize you in units to perform the duties. I mean, those who are having the master training, then there'll be a master resilience trainer in every battalion. So then if family members, I mean, that would be a whole job, wouldn't it, George? I mean, because if you got that training, then we'd have to do something to utilize you.
Yeah, I think right now the folks we're training are primarily coming out of the Army Community Services, and there will be the installation coordinators of the program. But that's an interesting point.
It is interesting.
And how can we accelerate this into the families?
Right.
Candidly, I think the family members will see the value before some of the soldiers.
And that's the thing, because ACS, they have so many programs, which is great, and that's adding to the repertoire, but we're more internal. And I mean, the best training, you get it from the soldiers, they get it, and then they're deploying. So, and there's only so many per battalion, so many per brigade, and then they're gone. So with continuity, I mean, that was just a question, you know, for better efficiency to get to our family members.
But then we would need to use you to train people. Yeah.
Ma'am?
That's a very interesting, I mean, it's a very interesting thought.
Ma'am? Question? Just a question?
Please.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. With the Master Resiliency Training, ACS just went through a training session. It was designed for trainers to train family members. Each installation got a certain amount of trainers to do so. Fort Bragg, for instance, we have 4 Master Resiliency trainers to train family members, 4 for the entire installation. What we're going to have to do is to see, is there a way that we can train the trainers so that we have more access to family members, and to see if we can increase the amount of Master Resiliency trainers on each installation specifically for those family members.
Right.
Thank you. Sir, do you want to take another question in the other room?
Yeah, but before we leave that, the challenge is to get the quality of instruction. It's about a 12-day program. And right now, while we're training and hiring Army instructors, it just takes so long to get really good at it that we're having to stick with the University of Pennsylvania instructors. And so as this expands a bit, we'll be able to do more training for other folks. Okay.
Sir, my name is Captain David Somerton. I'm promotable and I'm retired. And this is a promise from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs Staff. I have tried to follow the rules with everything that I'm seeking, but your ABCMR is broken. And I'm asking you to take this packet, please review it. You have my contact information.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'll do that. Thank you. Nothing for the group.
We got one more over here. We got one more on this side.
Back to what we were talking about with your resilience training and everything. We're reservists. Reservists, we are kind of like the redheaded stepchild. All you guys are talking about installations, and you have all these means to you. We are so geographically dispersed. How are you handling this, getting it to the reservists and down to their families who have TPUs and stuff like that that are not there but on a weekend out of the month for BAs?
I'll do that.
Good.
One of the main reasons we put this online was exactly that. Any reservist, any reservist family member can do both the survey and all of the different modules in the privacy of their own home. Now, I recognize what you're saying, that it is harder to get the resilience trainers out across the units that are dispersed all over the country. I understand that. We've had guardsmen and reservists in the master resilience training from the very beginning. And it will take us a little longer, but again, the main elements of the program are online and available to anyone with a computer and a CAT card.
Sir, you want a question over there, and then we'll bring one more over here
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay?
Well, if you don't mind, she's got a comment and I just got a quick question. All right, for all the spouses that have trouble getting pregnant, they will not allow us to do in vitro fertilization. I think it's something you guys need to look into because like me and my husband, we can't have kids together. And there's other families that still on the same thing.
And you're saying they won't let you do this in Army hospitals, in vitro fertilization, is that what you said? TRICARE.
They said I had to fly to Washington to have it done and it cost like $18,000.
I don't know. TRICARE doesn't
Hey,
cover
hey,
it?
Ken Farmer, over there, I got,
Oh, it's not covered. I just asked Scott, it's not covered by TRICARE.
okay, I tell
Under
Ken.
law, so that means we have to have the law changed. Okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And you had
Yeah.
a comment?
My name is Tammy from Fort Benning.
Let us get a microphone too, please. We
I
get a
got one.
microphone up here, please?
I'm sorry. And they made a comment about the FRSAs.
Oh, my.
Honestly, I think it's installation by installation because our FRSAs at Fort Benning is awesome. I was thrown into the FRG blind, not knowing anything, and my FRSA has been wonderful. And anything I need, all I gotta do is go to her, and she is awesome.
Okay, just one second. Let me just say this about FRSAs. FRSAs, it's not the position, it's the person who fills them. It's no... It is no different when you hire people for any position, whether it's in the government or outside the government. I have to tell you, having done a lot of hiring, it's a crapshoot. You know, sometimes you do really well, sometimes you don't pick so well. So, yes, you don't have to keep them. It's like anything else, you know?
You don't want that finger pointed at you either.
He can see you.
Anyway, great to spend a
Wait a
little
minute,
time with you.
wait a minute, George, we have one last one here.
I have a, with all due respect, the GAT is a
that
one.
doesn't start good.
Well, the GAT is a wonderful thing.
The
but
what?
the GAT, the Global Assessment Tool, is a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
But getting on AKO as a spouse is not, and there is your issue.
Oh, thank you very much.
I have a question back here.
One more question.
I've been waiting. I'm kind of short. I don't think nobody
never know
saw
which
me.
room is talking.
Right here. See, yeah,
Okay.
it's my height. It is.
Okay, well, it's also the lights. It's the lights.
It's my height. I have a question also for some of the spouses that actually serve. Me and my husband both serve. We're dual military. We have 4 children, and I'm also the FRG liaison for my unit. And I have an awesome FRSA too, since I have a great one. But a question that I often get because we're in the USA community is because we deploy so often sometimes. And I know that there are family care plans in place, but since we are all about the family, this does nothing for the children. It's not easy for me or some other parents to get 3 or 4 children together and just load them on somebody. And we actually love serving. And although the option is to get out of the military, we love what we do. We love, I love being an NCO. I love working with the soldiers. This is what I want to do. My husband does the same. And I have a lot of soldiers that also ask me that question as to, do I just get out? I love what I do. Do I just, abandon everything that I know and love because they've been doing it for so long because them and their spouse are getting deployed at the same time. So is there going to be something put into place where throughout those rotations that one of the parents can be home with the children because it's just not healthy for the children when they go to school to worry about both parents being gone, whether something will happen or not?
Just so you know, we've had a program in place for a while.
Yeah.
Where
For a while.
it takes a general officer to deploy a spouse when they don't want it simultaneously, when they don't want to do it. And so you ought to be able to work it where one of you is not deploying. Now, as I go around and talk to people, I got to tell you, there's as many people who want to have both folks gone and come home together than there are who want to do it one-on-one. And what we try to do is leave it to people's choices. But we're trying to make it an exception, a very small exception, if someone has to be deployed while their spouse is deployed and they don't want to do it. And so that policy is in effect, it's out there, and there's even a hotline at Human Resources Center that you can call and get that sorted out. Listen, it's been great. I'm glad I came over here. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, General and Mrs. Casey. For those of you who didn't have an opportunity to ask your question, you'll be able to send that question to familyprograms@ausa.org, and they'll take your questions and vet them with the appropriate individuals and then get back with you. So please provide your contact information if you choose to use that method. Okay, we're a little bit ahead, but we're going to take a break now, and I'd like for everybody to try and get back here at 15:45 so that we can start promptly. We've got an exciting remainder of the afternoon, and I don't want you to miss any of it, so thank you. This past year, the installation management community has moved out on reviewing its service delivery processes and soldier and family programs and services to ensure they remain